Hey, it's Dougie Wood, and in this video, we're going to learn how to create a SharePoint agent. Now, Microsoft released this training video only a few days ago, and I'm going to be watching it along with you and sharing my thoughts as we go through. So let's take a look.
Now let's have a closer look at these SharePoint agents. This green energy site captures a new solar panel initiative from Relic Cloud. A new initiative means there's going to be new people onboarding to this team. And because every SharePoint site now automatically gets an agent grounded in the site content, that is all the document libraries and the site pages libraries, there's no work for the site owner to have an agent that helps their audience discover the knowledge of their site, especially for new members who may not know how to get around the site just yet.
I think this is a really important thing because I was trying to explain this the other day to somebody that the way that we find documents is going to change. So way back even before SharePoint was a thing, we'd have File Explorer and we'd have to kind of dig through loads of stacks of folders to get to documents. Then we've got SharePoint, we've got this kind of user interface, but it still requires a lot of clicking around to find things. The way I find things might be different to the way that you find things. Whereas actually now having this kind of agent interface will mean that no matter how you ask for something, the way that you get to the content will be exactly the same, which is a radically new way of actually integrating or also interfacing, I should say, with documents. So I find this really interesting.
So from here, you can also see within the sidecar, we have an agent picker. Now the agent picker has two sections. This top section are the approved agents for this site. This is the area that the site owner controls. They only show the agents that have been selected by the site owner, and there's even one here that's been approved and selected as the default. There's only one for this site right now, and that's this green energy agent. What you see below in the recommended for you section are really the agents that were most recently used by you. This is a lot more personalized. It's going to show the agents you created, the ones that were shared to you, and more importantly, the ones that you used last so you can get back to what you were using before. Now, as I navigate throughout the SharePoint site, you'll see that the sidecar stays open, always a companion here with this agent showing me the last part of my conversation. The message box here shows that it's always asking that question to the site and grounding it in everything that's on that site. But I can also select a file and ask a question specifically about that file. What is the A100 series? And it will go through and answer that question only using the reference that I selected for it. But now I'm the content owner for this site. And as the content
So one thing I would say about this, which I use a lot inside of Copilot anyway, is that you can find documents by describing it. So what I'm hoping we can do with this kind of agent interface is like what I usually use Copilot for anyway. Say I saw a file the other day which had XYZ contained in it. I don't know the name of the file. I don't know where it's saved, but here's what the file is. And it went away and found it. And in fact, actually, that real world example, it found it inside of my colleague's OneDrive that they'd shared a link to that document with me. So, of course, I couldn't easily find it because it was inside of their OneDrive. But I'm hoping that's how this is going to be grounded in this SharePoint site. So you'll be able to use this interface to describe a document and it will go away and find it in the SharePoint site.
So I want to create an agent that is about just these product specifications. To do that, I just select the folder and create an agent. From here, you can
This
see
is how
that
simple it is to create an agent, by the way.
It's going to be named, what the resources are that it's based on, and that it's actually ready to use. And it is. I'm going to click Open Agent, and there it is, all ready to use here on the sidecar. Now, as the site content owner, though, I'm actually real.
So the other thing as well, I like to think of these agents is it's very much like you're using the share document link. So when you create an agent, it's easy to share it with a colleague that they can then go and use to interrogate a set of documents.
That someone might be working on. And then I'm going to make sure that people know what this agent is for by describing it so that they can see what it's supposed to do before they even open it. This is going to be that onboarding budding. When I move to the Sources tab, you can see that the product specifications folder is already selected. The agent is grounded in everything in this folder by reference, which means that any changes inside the folder, like new files, updates to existing documents, will immediately be used by the agent in its next response. So all those times where you might have been worried about people getting outdated information are now gone because you've created an agent that is based on the latest information. You'll notice at the top here as well that we have a note here about permissions. We want to remind you that the responses from this agent are always based on the asker's permissions. We want to keep you in control of how the underlying content is shared. So this is a reminder that everyone has an experience based on their permissions, and you control how the agent responds by updating the underlying content permissions. You can select up to 20 source items, and the limit here is really to ensure the agent can respond well, but also is a signal to be thoughtful about the purpose of this agent. If it's too broad, can it be the knowledge expert that you really need it to be? And now we get to the behavior section. The behavior is really where you're going to tell the agent exactly how you want to behave. First, you're going to let the users know what this agent is used for. So we want them to know that they can use this agent to learn about the solar panel line of products. The starter prompts are here to...
These, when it gets further down into the kind of the instructions for the agent and things like that, what we've seen with a lot of other chat agent type AIs is the ability to tell it, almost to take a role, almost like think of itself as the policy manager, for example. If this was a set of policy documents, take the role of the policy manager, and then it's almost going to tailor its responses with a kind of very specific almost job role or style of person in mind.
Give the users an idea of the types of questions that this agent is going to be good at answering. We can start with something that's very general and move on to something that can be much more detailed. The instructions are where you can express how this agent should behave. I am being explicit here about the agent being an expert. I want it to be friendly and concise, and I can even give it some rules about how it should respond. Here,
that's actually really important. Sometimes with AI, it's not just telling it what to do, it's also telling it what not to do.
Language and formatting, and always use that source information that I provided for it. Now on the right-hand side here, here's a visual of how this agent's going to appear on the SharePoint site. Can test it here to make sure that it's responding the way that I expect. And while this is answering, I want to draw your attention to the text below here that says where this agent is saved. We are saving the configurations into a .agent file. Now, I know that you know what to do with files, how to work with them, manage them, and govern them. So now when I save and close this builder, you can see the agent in two places. First, all the updates show up in the sidecar, just as you expect. And second, in the document library here, next to the resources that grounded it. So anyone coming here to this location will also see the agent. And because it's a file, it has all the properties and conveniences of a file. So first, you'll notice that the file name is actually the name of the agent. And in the same way that you need create and edit permissions to add files to this location, you will need those same permissions to create and edit agents. So the create agent entry points follow these permissions as well. The file hover card shows for the file, and you can see that it also has shown that I've got 2 views on this so far with this file statistics. We've also kept the majority of the options in the overflow menu that makes sense for a .agent file, including download. Let's have a look at what's in this file. We're going to download it here, and I'm going to show you what this looks like by opening it up in Notepad. So the .agent file contains a JSON object, and the GPT definition is the declarative agent manifest. Conversation starters that you see here is the list of starter prompts that you just saw me set, and an introduction from that as well. And lastly, the icon here is the standard data-URI for an image. Now, I don't expect that end users will open the file, but it's visible and there for them to explore. Now let's head back to SharePoint.
I don't know quite why they explain that to us. That doesn't feel like an end user would need to know that at all.
So clicking on the file opens this viewer. This viewer is opened when you click on the .agent file in SharePoint and OneDrive, and even when you sync this file to your desktop with OneDrive. It's also the default viewer when you get a link in the agent and use it from Word, Outlook, or point to it in a SharePoint web part. One of the nice things of this viewer is that it gives you extra space to actually interact with the agent one-on-one. But it also has all the actions that you expect in a viewer like this for any type of file. You can download, you can favorite, you can delete it from here. You can get additional details about the agent and about the file. And the thing that I think is really interesting is that there's also version history.
That's
And there's
cool.
version history because that we've been editing this file. We've had the original version and then other versions with the different updates that we made. I also have a place where I could see where other people have come into the file. And of course, there's the share option. We have a new one.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Link that's meant for Teams.
Sharing is it was identical to any other document.
And you can, of course, manage access to this file as well. So now we're back in SharePoint, and I want to show you just how much control a site owner has of these agents that are getting created. I've already showed you here where the agent file gets created next to the place where you started the agent. And we have this option in the picker for approved agents for the site and those that are recommended for you. Now, as a content owner, I actually think that this particular agent should be one that is approved for the site so that people coming in here can really learn about these product specifications really easily. So what I'm going to do is, as the site owner, I'm going to select the option to set this agent as approved. We set the agent as approved here, and you can see it's letting me know that I'm able to do this so that site visitors can see this at the top of that picker list. All I need to do is click Set as an Approved Agent, and it's ready to go. And now it's let me know that it actually moved this agent from this location here in the document library to the Site Assets folder, so it's now protected and part of the agent schema. When I refresh here on the site, that product specifications agent is now part of that first section of that list. But what I actually want to do is actually make this the one that people see first. And in order to do that, all I have to do is set it as default. And once I do that as a set as default for that site, you'll see here that it gets moved to the top of the list for the approved agents for the site, and that green energy one is now at the bottom. There's an indicator here with that check mark to let you know that this is the default agent for the site. Now let's have a look at collaborating with agents. I have an agent here that is built specifically to help me draft project plans based on previously completed installations. As you can see, this agent is grounded on our completed installation project. I'm just going to open up the edit here. Completed installation project plans. And there are specific instructions here to help build or draft a project plan based on this past experience. So I'm going to use this agent because I'm working with 2 other people to build out a plan. All I need to do to share this agent is to copy that link. And as you can see here, this is just the copy link dialog that you see for files when you share. The one thing that we've done here is put a reminder in to let you know that you can paste this into a Teams group chat so that you can use this agent collaboratively. So now let's flip to Teams. I've got a chat set up with Sarah and Brad to talk about this Bowen proposal and put something together. So first, I'm going to share this agent with the chat. You can see that it doesn't get automatically added to the chat, and I give it the permission to do so. So I'm going to add it to chat. And once I do that, I'll be able to use the common @ gesture to ask it a question. You can see here, it's noted that I've added it to the chat, and it's given me an introduction on what it can do. If I use the @ mention, I can call the project drafter name and ask it a question. Now, because both Sarah and Brad and
So that's fantastic that you can not only create these agents and use them in SharePoint, you can also bring them into your chats inside of Microsoft Teams, which really helps with collaboration. I think as long as you remember these agents are treated very much like SharePoint files, then you won't go wrong. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you've got any questions, use the comments feed below. And of course, subscribe for more SharePoint content.